After one of its deadliest stretches in recent memory, Los Angeles will end 2022 with fewer homicides and shootings than in 2021, sparking hope that the surge in violent crime over the previous 2 years is flattening. The number of killings stood at 373 citywide through Christmas Eve, still well above pre-pandemic levels but a 6% decrease from the same time last year, according to preliminary statistics compiled by the Los Angeles Police Department. The city logged 397 homicides last year, its largest total since 2006. The number of people struck by gunfire also fell 8% compared with the same period last year. Police officials have attributed the turnaround in part to improved community involvement and closer cooperation with other law enforcement agencies. The year began on an ominous note, with the pace of killings through the first few months threatening to eclipse the 15-year high set in 2021. Through April 30th, there were 122 homicides in L.A., including the orchestrated shooting of a man by a suspect who police say flew in from Texas and the death of a man gunned down at a cemetery. Several high-profile homicides, like the daytime slaying of rapper PNB Rock, who was fatally shot at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in South L.A., fueled reports in the news and on social media about the city's growing lawlessness. But the bloodshed abated somewhat in the ensuing months. After steadily dropping from the highs of the early 1990s, when bloody gang wars drove homicides to more than 1,000 a year, violent crime spiked in L.A. in the first 2 years of the pandemic. Other cities saw similar increases as COVID shutdowns increased unemployment and exacerbated the affordable housing crisis. Anastasia Timmer, a criminology professor at Cal State Northridge, said that even as the hardships brought on by the pandemic are still being felt, the effects on crime may recede over time as people adapt to cumulative stresses. Maybe now we see less violent behavior, because stress also reaches its ceiling effect, said Timmer, who with a group of colleagues has embarked on a study of how global events such as war or pandemic affect crime rates in 6 countries, including the U.S. People adjust to living with COVID. She questioned whether the crime data released by the LAPD accurately reflect reality or is being underreported, at a time when trust in law enforcement hit new lows after the murder of George Floyd in 2020. The horror of watching Floyd gasping for air under the knee of a Minneapolis police officer led to a mass protest movement across the country. Such abuses, experts say, can encourage people to take the law into their own hands, rather than turn to a criminal justice system that they view as not legitimate. Some experts argue that with the U opening back up, the likely causes of the spikes in violence nationwide are easing as the pandemic abates.